You know, diving back into ECM's catalogue feels a bit like opening a time capsule. There's something about the way they captured a moment, not just a sound, but a space, a mood, a way of thinking about music. This is the second instalment of our little ECM journey, and it's fascinating how even albums from the same era, early to mid-70s in this case, each carve out their own universe. I was revisiting a few records from 74 and 75 the other day, and I realised there's this subtle thread weaving through them. Experimentation without pretension, a sort of honesty in the music. It's that blend of structure and freedom that makes ECM so compelling. And while a lot of people immediately think of the big names, Keith Jarrett, Jan Garbarek, there's a rich seam of artists that pushed boundaries in their own ways. So today we're going to explore 5 of these records, each incredible in its own right, so let's get into it. Let's start with Lookout Farm by Dave Liebman from 1974. Now, Liebman had already made a name for himself in the post-Coltrane world, playing with Miles Davis and soaking up all that intense modal experimentation. But Lookout Farm feels different. It's expansive, open, almost pastoral at times, and yet it's far from relaxed. What's fascinating about this record is the ensemble. Liebman surrounds himself with musicians who are as curious as he is. Richie Beirach on piano, Frank Tousa on bass, and Jeff Williams on the drums. There's a sense that they're listening, reacting, and building something together rather than following a strict plan. My favourite track here has to be Pablo's Story. It's one of those tracks that almost sneaks up on you. The first 2 minutes are quiet, teasing, and then suddenly the groove and melodic lines emerge. It's like the music has been holding its breath and then bursts into life. You get this incredible interplay between Liebman's saxophone and Beirach's electric piano. It's introspective, but there's also this electric energy underneath. This feeling that anything could happen next. That's the magic of ECM in a nutshell. Next up, we have Julian Priester's album named Love Love from 1974. Priester might not be a household name in jazz, but this album is one of those hidden gems that really exemplifies ECM's willingness to take risks. Priester, a trombonist, composes with a lot of space in mind. The textures here are incredible, sometimes airy and almost orchestral, sometimes rhythmically intricate. The track that always grabs me is Prologue Love Love. Right from the start, there's this sense of journey. Priester's trombone doesn't dominate in the traditional sense. It floats, converses with the rhythm section, and blends with the atmosphere of the recording. There's a lyrical quality here that's rare in jazz trombone playing, a kind of storytelling without words. And it's exactly that subtle narrative sense that makes the ECM sound so recognizable. Music that breathes, that listens, that has space to develop. Then there's Bennie Maupin's The Jewel in the Lotus from 1974. If you've ever wondered what the crossroads of spiritual jazz and ECM aesthetics might sound like, this is it. Maupin, primarily known as a multi-reed player, crafts music that's meditative yet deeply textural. My favourite track, Ensenada, captures this perfectly. It's hypnotic without ever becoming static. The layers of reeds, piano, and subtle percussion create a sonic tapestry that feels organic, alive. And what's particularly striking about Maupin here is how much control he has over the atmosphere. He's not trying to impress with technical fireworks. Instead, he's shaping space, guiding the listener through a reflective, immersive sound world. Listening to this track, you understand why ECM became synonymous with a certain clarity and depth in jazz recordings. Moving on, Richard Beirach's Eon from 1975. A record that might feel like a bridge between the classical infused ECM sound and the more improvisational explorations of the 70s jazz scene. Beirach, who had already been collaborating with Liebman and others, shows here what makes him such a compelling pianist. A balance of lyricism and harmonic sophistication. Nardis, the track I always turn to, is a masterclass in phrasing and dynamics. Beirach interprets the tune with sensitivity, exploring harmonic spaces without ever losing the thread of the melody. The way the piano interacts with the rhythm section is almost conversational. Each chord and line feels deliberate, but also spontaneous. There's a meditative quality here, but it's alive, vibrant, and quite frankly beautiful. This is ECM at its most crystalline. Thoughtful, spacious, yet emotionally immediate. Finally, we have Hotel Hello from 1975, a collaboration between vibraphonist Gary Burton and bassist Steve Swallow. This album is intimate, almost minimalist in texture, but far from simple. The interplay between Burton and Swallow is extraordinary. It's like listening to two people finish each other's musical sentences. My favourite track is Chelsea Bells for Hearn. It's delicate, shimmering, and deeply melodic. Burton's vibes and Swallow's bass lines weave in and out, creating a conversation that feels both spontaneous and carefully crafted. This record is a reminder that ECM wasn't just about sprawling ensembles or ambitious experimentation. It could also be about intimate, deeply human musical dialogue. Looking back across these 5 albums, a few things strike me. First, ECM in the mid-70s wasn't chasing trends. It was creating a space for musicians to explore, to breathe, to express something that felt both personal and universal. Second, even within the label's signature aesthetic, there's enormous variety. Pastoral, spiritual, experimental, intimate, all under the same sonic umbrella. And finally, what keeps me coming back isn't just the music itself, but the way it invites you to listen differently. There's a patience required, a willingness to be present. And that's exactly why the ECM sound still resonates today. So that's my take on these 5 incredible records. Part 2 of our ECM journey. If you've not explored these albums, I hope this gives you a few new listening points. And if you have, maybe it's time to revisit them and see what new corners you discover in the music this time around. If you want to continue hanging out with me here on the channel, I'll pop a video in the corner for you to click on now. Other than that, I'd like to say thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.